Hey everybody, good evening. Welcome to Live Lessons. I sincerely apologize. We have been in a little bit of a technical switch here. We couldn't figure out why our computer wasn't working until we found out way in the background it was installing something. So we had a little bit of undue drama with all of that. But hey, thanks for hanging in there with us. We're a couple minutes late, but it's going to be a great show tonight. I'm so excited to have with us for tonight's show my good friend, Brian Shun. Brian, thank you so much for being here with us on bass.
Hey, thank you so much.
It is a great honor to have you with us here. Brian's one of the best bass players in town, and we're going to be illustrating so many things tonight that I thought, well, it's just going to be easier for everybody if I had a bass player with me. So tonight we have Brian, so thank you, Brian, so much for being part of all this craziness. All right. Hey, we're going to be talking about tonight doing more with chords, making better progressions. We always see the same progressions all the time. C's, F, G's, A minors. What can you do? The challenge is, if you're just tired of just strumming, you can always strum. Pretty boring. So tonight we're going to be talking about some concrete, different ways that you could do to view chord progressions and what you as a guitar player can do to create memorable guitar parts, even amongst boring chord progressions. So, hey, if you can, type in where you're from. I see some folks are already doing this. Lily, good to see you from Australia. Neil, Ontario. Asheville, North Carolina. Dave, good to see you. River Hill, Baltimore, Maryland, good to see you. Hamilton, Ontario. Houston, Texas. Andy, good to see you. Lithia Land, I'm not quite sure what that is. Their drumstick. James Martin from Peyton, Colorado. Salt Lake City, Boston. My son's in Boston. Tellaroo, Tiger Mountain, Washington. There they all come.
Check it out.
They're coming too fast. I can't see them all.
Orlando, New Brunswick, Lincoln, Nebraska.
Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Georgia. Man, and
Wonderful.
You guys stuck around even after our all of our late start and everything. You guys are hard up for entertainment on a Tuesday night. But here we go. All right. We are going to start off with a song, I Wish, by Stevie Wonder. I thought since we had a bass player, it'd be a good song to start off with. Now, this is what I Wish sounds like when we've had not just little rehearsal, no rehearsal at all. Okay, so we're going to be reading this blind and try and get it there. This is Stevie Wonder's I Wish. Starts out with the bass groove there. Take it, Brian. There you go. Another time two through it, we'd have it down pretty good. Okay, a little bit of I Wish there to get us started off with. We are still having a couple of technical issues, so please bear with us. We are just determined to get out a show tonight. So, all right, let's get started. Okay, let me gather my thoughts here. All right, if you're tired of strumming over the same progression, let's talk about what some options that you can do are. We see a lot of the same chords in guitar world a lot. We see lots of, ones, fours, and fives in whatever key, So what can you do? Well, I don't care whether you're on electric or on acoustic, you're going to see the same chords, and we got to think of some more interesting ways to come up with ideas. So I'm just going to rattle you off. We've got about 15, 16 ideas down here of things you can do to improve what you make memorable guitar parts. Okay, so taking regular chord changes and making something memorable with them. So I'll try and eventually have some of these examples written out, and we'll try and put them in a PDF. I'm sorry, I don't have that yet. We just had too many things going on today. I'll try and get that up. So eventually, hopefully, by the time this gets to be onto YouTube, we will have a PDF of this stuff. All right, so let's just talk about a couple of things. First of all, when you look at a chord progression, well, what are chords? Well, you've got C's, F's, and G's, but these are actually collections of notes. So in a C chord, it's a collection of three tones, a C, E, and a G, a 1, 3, and a 5. In any major chord, it's going to be the 1, 3, and a 5. If it's a minor chord, it's a 1 flat 3 and a 5. So you got to realize what a chord progression is. It's these collections, these groupings of notes that are going through, a span of time. Sometimes the notes overlap. You'll have the same note in both chords. In a C chord, you've got a C, E, G. In an F chord, you've got an F, A, and a C. Well, that C is in both of those progressions. So with a little bit of that understanding in mind, let's jump into some ways that you can add some things to normal chord progressions to make them sound a little bit more interesting. All right, first things you could do is change the voicing of the chord. Voicings of the chord. That is the order of the notes. So instead of always playing down here, I can play just parts of that chord. C and an E, E and a G, G and a C. As long as I have a G, E, and a C, or some combination of them, I've got that chord. So there's a C, E, and a G. There's a C, E, and a G. We've got triads that we can use, upper inversions. Let me get my guitar tuned up, and I'll show you those.
Yeah, I think, too, as a bass player, depending on the style that it is, sometimes it's more appropriate just to hang out on the root. But other times, especially if you want a little bit more harmonic interest, I'll be picking out, especially thirds and good things to key in on, because what it does, it frees up you to be able to play other extensions if you'd like to.
That's right. Exactly. Perfect. All right, so one of the things we can do is this first one is you can do roots and fifths. Roots and fifths. Okay, so here's the deal with roots and fifths. I'm going to take, we've got a little progression here written down. It's in the key of G. It's a little 16-bar progression using the 1, G, the 4 chord, a C, goes back to 1, goes to 4. Then we have a 6 minor, then a 5 chord, a D, 4, and then it repeats that, and we kind of take it back to the top. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's pretty basic progression. Okay, so if I've just played the chords through it, more of a kind of a rock feel. Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 1, 2, play the progression, ready to go. Now it's a C chord. Just playing through the progression so you get an idea how it sounds. so if I did roots and fifths, okay, so that's the progression. If I did roots and fifths, a good way to do that is we're in the key of G, so here's the root, G. Then I have a D there and a D on either side. Up here at the 7th position, doing that. And I could just wobble around in between these notes. So I'm not even worrying too much about what the chord change is. I'm just playing, just wobbling around while these chords are happening over the top of me. Okay, so let's play this again. He's going to be changing the chords, and I'm just doing roots and fifths. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, boom. Okay, good. I know we're having some technical issues going on there. We'll keep going. We'll try and do the best we can. You guys tell me if we get just too far gone on it. Okay, now I'm going to crank up. One of the things you could do with this is I'm going to crank up the old, crank up my delay a little bit. And let's say the tempo we were doing that was, okay, so I got it on a dot or quarter eighth delay. And you can kind of do the old U2 thing. Okay, so if we did our progression 1, chicka 2, chicka 3, chicka 4. Now goes to 6 minor, E minor. I just stay there. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Able to do a little bit of roots and fifths, some combinations of things another option that you can do. How we doing, guys? Hopelessly lost, or can we keep going? Okay, all right, we're keeping going. Keeping going. You can try that old cable too if you want to. All right, we're octaves. Another thing you can do is I could just do octaves over these chords. So we're going to play that same progression again. And I'm going to do octaves. Let me get to a little bit of a cleaner sound here. And I'm just going to do octaves. Now, I could do the octave of the root of the note, okay, the G in our G chord, and then the C of a C chord, but that sounds a little funky doing it that way. So I'm going to try and overlap them a little bit. So since a G is still in a C chord, I'm going to keep playing my octave G through all of that, okay? And then maybe we might go through it twice, and I'll play a little melody with octaves. That might be a way to do it. Okay, let me turn down my effect now. Okay, 1, 2, octaves, 2, 3, 4. Maybe I could do a little melody. Let's add a little distortion. Take it around again. Maybe I can go high on the melody. Okay, another possibility there. Okay, we've talked about roots and fifths. We've talked about how you can use octaves. What's another thing we can do? We could do triad inversions. Okay, So let's talk about some inversions. If I did maybe a simpler progression, maybe a G and then a C and a D, a measure of G, and then 2 beats on a C, 2 beats on a D, I have those triads, inversions. I'm just going to use 3-note inversions. Here I have a G, a B, D, and a G of a G chord. Okay? If I just flip those up to the next inversion, I still have G, B, and D, but I put them in a different order. D, G, and B. If I do them up here, that's the next inversion up. So there's only 3 of these since it's a triad. Only 3 different ways I can put the inversions. G, B, D. I've got the 5th at the top. I've got the 3rd at the top. I've got the root at the top. Okay? And that's what it is for a major chord. So if I had a little progression where I'm jumping around between G, C, and D, maybe it would sound, I don't know, something like this. 1, chicka 2, chicka 3, chicka 4. 1, 2, 3. And then double that. G, C. There we go. Do it again, do it again. I'm going to switch some inversions. Just another option, another thing you can play. If I wanted to stay in that area, I could do inversions down here. Same progression, 1, chicka 2, chicka 3, chicka 4. Just some options, okay? What's another thing we could do? All right, we could do kind of reggae. If you wanted to sound kind of Caribbean, I can do sort of a reggae feel, which are backbeats, but they're 16th note backbeats. Same progression. 1, 2, 3, 4. All I'm doing is just doing these upbeats. Okay, Brian Fitzpatrick is saying, question for Brian, do you play chords on the bass?
That's a great question. The short answer is yes. Depending on the situation, it will kind of vary what it is. Generally on bass, because it's such a low-pitched instrument, a lot of things that Stanley Clarke does is a lot of fifths. So you'll hear, especially in the lower registers, it still allows it to speak fairly clear. When you start to get into thirds or something, it's usually better, I think Steve you'll hit on this, when you hit tens. So you have a little bit of octave separation between the voicings. If I get higher up, a lot of double stops are what bass players generally do. If you start to do like more chordal work or solo work, you can add a little bit more things, but generally a bass player is going to stick to very simple voicings on the bottom. Sometimes with a 4-string bass, if I want a little extra oomph on the bottom, I'll add a fifth. If I want like a low C, I'll add a fifth below it on a 4-string. I'll give a little bit more girth to it.
Good. Very good. All right. All right. My tech guys are going, well, we'll see. All right, we're going to keep going anyway. Okay, Suku's triads. This is a personal favorite of mine. You may not ever use this. I particularly love this. It's kind of we've gone kind of a Caribbean sound. Okay, Suku's, that is more of an African sound. You'll know it as soon as I do it. We're going to switch progressions here. We're going to do go to a progression that's C, F, and G. Let me get tuned up. I don't know why I'm so squirrely on my tuning today.
I got a little squirrely too. It's the season for squirrels.
It's the season for getting a little funky on tuning.
There's funky and there's funky on tuning, and funky on tuning is never.
Funky on tuning is never where you want to go.
Want to do.
Okay, all right. So we're going to be kind of Suku's triads. All right. So this progression is a C, F, G, back to F. So the feeling is something more like a... kind of a, what is that, Paul Simon?
Yeah.
You Call Me Al.
Yes.
That's the song.
Yep.
That's kind of that sort of a feel. That sort of a feel. I like those. I like that. I love that style. Soukous, S-O-U-K-O-U-Z. Probably not a style that you hear a lot here in the States, but trust me, in Africa, it's really big. And there's whole genres in that style. It's actually pretty fascinating, the playing, the quick arpeggiated guitar playing. It's all triads, okay? All right, another thing that you could do is real popular these days is to do tenths, okay? So, again, if I've got a similar progression, let's just do a 1-4-6-5 in the key of G. So this would be a G, a C, an E minor, and a D. And if I did something like, let me get a... Okay, so now I've created a pretty interesting guitar part. Again, I don't have to be all that creative. I just have about 10, 15 tools in my toolkit of different options I can do for these progressions. One of them is I'm just doing tenths. So I did a high tenth here in G, G to a B. I'm doing a G on the 6th string at the, what is that, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th fret, and then a B on the 3rd string. I do the same shape down on the C. For the E minor, I do an E and a G up here at the 12th fret. Again, all using the 6th string and the 3rd string. The trick is how do you mute these strings that you're not using? Well, I kind of let my first finger sit on these other two strings, not play them down, not play them, but just sit them. So you can't get it perfect, but it's close enough. If I add a little bit of grit to it, a little bit of distortion, let me turn this down just a little bit. It sounds like this. The little bit of distortion kind of helps cover some of the problems there. It's a cool little way to throw a part out. Cool little way to throw a part out. All right, another one that you can do. Let's switch gears. We've talked about ways I can change the voicings to create more interesting chords. Another thing that you could do is change the rhythm. Okay, so instead of just strumming. Okay, that's what every guitar player on the planet's going to do. What you're trying to do is create something a little bit more memorable than that. So one of the things you could do is just change the rhythm up. Remember, if you can do anything that creates a pattern, the ear is going to pick up on that, and it's going to be a part that's going to sound great, okay? So that it's going to make the ear remember that part. Let me just say it that way, okay? You want to try and make something repetitive. Okay, so one of the things we can do is we're going to go to a blues, sort of a B-flat blues triplet thing, feel. Something like that. That sort of a feel, okay? And I'm going to do backbeats. So, blues backbeats. that sort of a thing. So let's try it. A 1 and a 2 and a B flat 1, go. Just on 2 and 4. Maybe I can add some stuff in between them. Do it again. Maybe I can break them up. Maybe I can hold some out. Creates a very typical blues, very characteristic blues guitar part, is just using backbeats like that. All right, another thing that I can use, I'm going to skip that one pattern right there. I'm going to go right to the other one. Oh, this is great. You could use another type of rhythm, classically used. I'm going to be in, we're going to be in the key of A. Okay? Just stay on A. Okay, so I'm just doing an A, kind of an A groove. Don't go, 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 go. Switching up to the D and back to the A. Okay? We're off at this point. Do
you want to answer some questions while we're waiting for some video?
Well, no, we got to get it. So we're, I tell you what, go back to, go ahead and cut the stream. We're going to cut. Okay, we're back. We're changing some different things, and we're making sure we're trying to get a better feed for you there. Hopefully, this will be a little bit better feed for you.
Oh, good.
Are y'all using the 480 one instead of the 720 or whatever? Anyway, all right. So at least we're back up and running. Okay. Yeah. All right, so let's do a little bit of the Buddy Holly rhythm. That's where we kind of missed it last time. So then we're going to go to the key of A, just kind of a groove in A. Now the Buddy Holly feel is that don't go 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 don't go 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 go. Okay, very cool little rhythm. Immediately you've got a groove going on, and it's an A. It's all we're doing is an A. Now, if you don't play little goofy things like that, you end up just going, it's just boring, okay? Man, you guys, we're so excited to have a bass player with us. All your questions are for the bass player here. Brian, do you play scales or mostly neighbor notes off of the root?
Ooh, okay. Short little story about me. When I first started learning my instrument, and especially started to learn more how I can move around, I started with scales. And what I found is that scales kept me in a very linear mindset with everything. A couple lessons back in the early days of my playing was with Carol Kay out in California.
Yep.
And she always advocated, and all the jazzers advocated, learning chordal theory. And basically because all music is based on chords. And when she began to explain that to me, and I played with it, that's when everything began to unlock kind of with my ears. Yeah. And so you always want to know kind of where you are in a song. But the thing that has helped me the most is thinking about everything chordally. Even though I may only be playing one note, a note with it, I know that as a bass player, that's my part to play. But I'll always visualize and kind of hear the other chord extensions. That's where I'll hear Steve play that. Always thinking chordally as a bass player is going to give you the most versatility to drop into a situation and to kind of go.
Yeah, wonderful. Great questions. Sorry, I'm going to talk to crew for just a second. Check the output settings. If we are on still the YouTube 480, try switching to the YouTube, our normal YouTube output settings, and see if we don't clear up that busyness there. If not, we'll be back. But okay, all right. You may need to refresh your YouTube screens also now that we've changed our how we're sending the stream to you. Again, sorry about the technical difficulties with that. We may need to actually just do this show again. We may have to do this show again next week. All right, so let's do a couple of things. We've talked about Buddy Holly stuff. Here's a classic one. Just do a dotted eighth rhythm. It's a great. It's always a good in the back pocket rhythm that you can do on guitar. So we're just going to do kind of a regular shuffle blues in G. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Dotted eighth. A dotted quarter to an eighth. Bump, got, bump, got. It's a good classic guitar rhythm you can do. All right, couple more, then we're going to, actually, let's give something away, and then I'll teach you a few more. Okay? I wanted to give away, we had our great show last week with Martin, and hopefully we'll be able to give some stuff away and that the stream doesn't go out. So I wanted to give away a Martin SP acoustic set of strings, the Lights. This is 12. Are we seeing this? Is it the thing is freezing again too much?
Audio's still good. Video's off.
Okay. Is it our CPU thing?
No, we're at 36. It's not high, so.
Okay.
The stream's completely lost internet.
Okay, but if you can still hear me, I'm still going to give this dumb thing away. Okay, so we are going to pick a winner that is not on our list. They're checking it. It's like Christmas. They're checking their list twice. Ken Wilson. Ken, you have just won a set of acoustic SP strings. These are great. Send me your information, Ken, at service@mightyoakmusic.com, and we will get this out to you. All right. Let me tell you about a couple of things that's going on. Wow, this is so terrible.
Hey, I scream again, but it's wireless now, so who knows what will happen.
All right, here we go. We're back. All right. We're determined to get out a show. Y'all are probably long since given up. There's probably like 2 people watching you still. It's terrible. I'm sorry about this. We'll get it worked out. Okay. Our Guitar Gathering Conference, we booked this week Joe Robinson, winner of Australian Idol and general guitar phenom. He is going to be with us for our Guitar Gathering Conference, as well as Phil Kagi, Will McFarlane, Christy Lene. If you haven't made plans to join us, please make plans to join us. The early registration goes out next week. So the best price that you're going to be able to get for the conference is for the next 7 days, okay? April 10th is when it goes out. Now, if this isn't working, maybe we'll have to push that back since our screen's not working. I don't know, but our stream's not working, but we'll try our best. All right, so if you're thinking about going to the conference, the best price you're going to see is going to be for the next 7 days. GuitarGathering2018.com. Joe Robinson, Phil Kagi, Will McFarlane, Christy Lene, a brilliant lineup. Workshops. If you want to just come and learn and be feet from some of the best guitarists on the planet, it's the place to be. All right. Hey, I wanted to also let you know, we just started this up today. This little tool, I found this tool, and I thought, this is what I need. This is a guitar tech tool. I've got some of them in. This is the kind of tool that I wanted, and so I just shamelessly bought a bunch of them, and we're going to offer them. I haven't had a sale in months. I should have a sale every week, but we haven't had a sale in months, so this is our first one this year. This is kind of an 8-in-1 tool. It's got your typical Phillips screwdriver on one end. It's got a flathead on the other. But here's the cool part of it. On these ends here, it's got hex wrenches. You know when you're working on your guitar, you have a, if you're like me, you have a fear of your scratch and your finish. And more than once, I've been trying to tighten one of my volume pots or maybe my output jack or something like that, and I'm trying to use some tool that I use for the car, and I'm worried it's going to scratch my finish, and most of the time I slip, oh, there it goes, and I got a big gash next to my volume pot or something like that. Okay, this has a kind of a durable nylon, very strong, feel it, sort of a thing, but it's got these hex wrenches that are the right size for guitar stuff. So if you